Ladies and gentlemen, this is MTG Traders. My name is Taryn, and this is Naga Tribal. We're now in the last week of deck techs for our Devastation Standard. After this week, I'll be covering previews and creating content with other things in mind, but I couldn't just let this tribal deck slip through the cracks when it's so good. But before I get into the video, hit that like button and subscribe for more content like this in the future. Alright, let's do this. Starting out at the 1 mana slot, we have 4 Slitherblade. An unblockable 1/1 is nothing new, but with the rest of the deck, the blade becomes a much bigger, more potent threat. Let's keep going. At the 2 mana slot, we've got, you've guessed it, 4 Metallica Mimic. This card almost didn't make the cut in testing, but since the turn 2 Mimic is so powerful against slower board states, I decided to keep it in. Pumping your Nagas and activating a Ronas is nothing to sneeze at, but that is it for 2 drops. The rest of our creatures, 3 drops. We've got 4 Champion of Wits, 4 Sidewinder Naga, 1 Hooded Brawler, 4 Remnant Excavator, and 2 Ronas the Indomitable. We've got a smorgasbord of aggressive creatures, creatures that help our graveyard, and of course, a god. Champion is great at filling our graveyard with useful things we can reanimate later, or have the Excavator grab for even more mana. Sidewinder Naga is great since it can immediately trigger Ronas if we have a desert in play or in the graveyard, which we usually will, and Hooded Brawler helps us get in for even more damage in the mid to late game. Swinging in with a 5/4 is deadly. Remnant Excavator is here for our 11 desert sources in the deck. We want to get those going off as often as possible, and knowing we can play them back to back on the field is great. And Ronas, well, he's a great god and a decent attacker, as well as a pumper for the rest of your board. But just like Hazard in our Jackal deck, he doesn't get the Mimic counter. Sad day. But that is it for our creatures, 23 in total. Let's go over spells. We've got 2 Descender's Deliverance and 4 Strategic Planning in the main board for Artifact Hate, as well as digging through our deck for cards we need. Planning comes in handy for the artifacts in the deck, as well as digging for creatures if we need them. And of course, if we don't need Deliverance, we just cycle it away. We also have 1 Wildest Dreams in our main board. This can grab any number of targets in our graveyard if we need it. And since we're not running white, we can't grab artifacts from the graveyard to then throw onto the battlefield. This is the closest we have to that. Sad, but true. The last 7 cards in the deck, artifacts. We've got 4 Gate to the Afterlife and 3 God-Pharaoh's Gift. One of the best interactions I've seen with God-Pharaoh's Gift decks is Champion of Wits, and since he's a Naga, the inclusion just made sense. Not only does Champion make sense, but since we're pitching cards at the graveyard, Remnant Excavator makes a great inclusion as well, and Slitherblade, being reanimated as a 4/4 unblockable is pretty impressive. We'll have no problem overcoming our opponent's board state if we don't even have to interact with it. God-Pharaoh's Gift is truly a gift. That's it for the main board. Let's go over the lands. We've got 4 Botanical Sanctum, 4 Haship Oasis, 3 Ipnu Rivulet, 3 Cradle of the Accursed, 1 Scavenger Grounds, 4 Island, and 4 Forest. It's a spaced out mana base, and the Rivulets are here to help feed our graveyard when we have an Excavator on our side of the field. It helps in making repeated mills possible. Haship Oasis is here for pumps, Cradle is here for zombie action, and Scavenger Grounds helps in dealing with an opponent's graveyard deck, though that's only as our last resort. And that's the full 60. So let's go over the sideboard. We've got 3 Blossoming Defense for creature protection, 2 Essence Scatter for creature removal, 2 Heroic Intervention for permanent protection, 2 Negate to deal with Planeswalkers and removal, 2 Appetite for the Unnatural for artifacts and enchantment hate, 1 Baral's Expertise for bounce hate as well as casting our other spells, 2 Virtuous Gearhulk to tilt our deck to a more creature-heavy strategy, and 1 Commit to Memory to survive against self-mill or milling strategies against us. And that is the full 75. The deck is coming to a surprisingly cheap 75 tickets. Again, this is a completely rotation-proof deck, so if you build this, know that you won't have to change out a single card once Ixalan releases. Huzzah! But let me know what you think of the deck. Love it? Hate it? I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments below. I reply back as often as I can. But as always, like the video if you liked it, and subscribe to MTG Traders for more content like this in the future. I'll see you guys in the next video.